Taeyang sat alone in the communications bay, staring at the screen that showed nothing but static and routine data streams. The clock on the wall said 2:47 a.m. ship time. Everyone else was asleep. He was the only one awake on the night shift, monitoring messages between Earth and the alien coalition. It had been 6 months since humans made first contact with aliens. 6 months since everything changed. Now humans had a ship in space talking to dozens of different alien species. It should have been exciting. But right now, at almost 3 in the morning, Taeyang just felt tired and lonely. He looked around the empty room. No one to talk to. No one to joke with. Just him and the blinking lights of the communication panels. Taeyang opened his personal log folder. He liked to record his thoughts sometimes. It helped pass the time on these long, boring nights. He hit the record button and leaned back in his chair. Personal log, day 187, he said to the camera. Still in space. Still doing the same job. And still very, very single. He laughed at himself. You know what's funny? I thought going to space would make my life interesting. I thought maybe I'd meet new people, have adventures, but no. I'm just lonely in space instead of lonely on Earth. At least the view is better. Taeyang rubbed his eyes. I can't even get a date on my own planet. What made me think space would be different? And let's be honest, aliens probably don't find humans attractive anyway. We're probably too weird for them. Too short, too tall, too hairy, not hairy enough, whatever. He started laughing again. Human dating is already so complicated. You have to figure out if someone likes you. Then you have to ask them out without being creepy. Then there's the whole thing about texting back at the right time. It's exhausting. I can't imagine explaining all that to an alien. Hey, blue tentacle person, want to grab coffee? Oh wait, you don't drink coffee. You absorb nutrients through your skin. Never mind. Taeyang shook his head, grinning. At this rate, I'll probably die alone. Maybe they'll write on my grave, "Here lies Taeyang Park." He went to space and was still single. What a loser. He turned off the recording and saved it. Or at least, he thought he saved it to his personal folder. He yawned, checked a few more data streams, and then decided to take a short nap at his desk. What Taeyang didn't know was that he had accidentally saved the file to the wrong folder. Instead of going to his personal logs, it went to the diplomatic communication channel, the same channel that broadcast messages to coalition worlds all across the galaxy. By the time Taeyang woke up 3 hours later, his recording had been transmitted to 47 different alien planets. The first thing he noticed was the sound. His computer was beeping. Not the normal beep. The emergency beep. The "something is very wrong" beep. Taeyang jumped up from his desk, nearly falling out of his chair. His screen was filled with messages. Thousands of them. The number kept going up. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, what the hell? He whispered. He opened the first message. It was in a language he didn't recognize, but the ship's computer translated it automatically. Human Taeyang Park, your emotional honesty is fascinating. We would like to learn more about human courtship rituals. Taeyang blinked. He opened another message. We have never heard a being speak about loneliness with humor. This is a new concept for our people. Please explain. Another message. Are all humans this strange? We must study this further. Taeyang's heart started beating faster. He checked the transmission logs. His blood ran cold, his personal recording, the one where he joked about being single, the one where he made fun of himself. It had been broadcast on the open diplomatic channel. Every alien species in the coalition had received it. No, he whispered. No, 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 no. He tried to delete it, but it was too late. The message had already spread across alien networks. Some species were sharing it. Others were commenting on it. His stupid, lonely 3 in the morning recording had gone viral across the galaxy. The door to the communications bay slid open with a hiss. Captain Yuna Choi walked in, her face showing a mix of confusion and anger that Taeyang had never seen before. Park, she said in a voice that was too calm. We need to talk now. Taeyang stood up so fast his chair rolled backward. Captain, I can explain. My office, she said. Immediately, he followed her through the corridors of the ship. A few crew members saw them and quickly looked away. News traveled fast on a small ship. Everyone probably already knew he'd done something wrong. Captain Yuna's office was small but organized. She sat behind her desk and gestured for Taeyang to sit down. He sat, feeling like a student called to the principal's office. Do you want to tell me? She said slowly. Why the Valoran Diplomatic Council has requested an emergency meeting with our ship? Or why the Dreth ambassador has sent me 3 messages asking about human mating displays? Or why I'm getting communication requests from 12 different alien species, all asking about you. Taeyang wanted to disappear. I made a mistake with the file routing. I listened to your recording, Yuna interrupted. The one that's now been heard by half the galaxy. I'm so sorry, Captain. I thought I was just making a personal log. I didn't mean to, Park. She held up her hand. I'm not sure if this is a disaster or the strangest diplomatic opportunity we've ever had. The aliens are interested, very interested. Some of them don't understand humor at all. They think you were making some kind of formal announcement. Others are fascinated by the concept of making fun of yourself. Taeyang put his head in his hands. I'm going to be fired, aren't I? Not yet, Yuna said. But you're going to fix this. The Valoran ship is arriving in 6 hours. Their diplomatic team specifically requested to meet with you, so you're going to put on your best uniform, smile, and explain human culture to them. Understood? The Velarans? Taeyang asked. Aren't they the ones with the telepathic abilities? Yes, Yuna said. They're also sending their best diplomats. 2 of them. Twin sisters, apparently. Nari and Hana. Taeyang felt his stomach drop. He'd made a joke about being single at 3 in the morning, and now he had to explain himself to telepathic alien diplomats. This was going to be the worst day of his life. Get some rest, Captain Yuna said. You look terrible, and Park, next time you want to complain about being single, maybe just write it in a diary like a normal person. As Taeyang walked back to his quarters, he passed his friend Minho in the corridor. Minho took one look at his face and started laughing. I heard, Minho said. Dude, you're famous across the galaxy now. The lonely human. Not helping, Taeyang muttered. Hey, look at the bright side, Minho called after him. At least aliens think you're interesting. Taeyang wanted to argue, but he was too tired. He went to his room, fell onto his bed, and stared at the ceiling. 6 hours. He had 6 hours before meeting alien diplomats who had heard him at his most pathetic. This was definitely not how he imagined first contact would go. Taeyang stood in the docking bay wearing his cleanest uniform. He had showered twice and checked his appearance 5 times. His hands were shaking slightly. Behind him, Captain Yuna waited with 3 other crew members, all looking formal and professional. Relax, Yuna whispered to him. They're just here to talk. They're telepathic aliens who heard me complain about being single, Taeyang whispered back. How am I supposed to relax? The docking door made a hissing sound. Everyone stood straighter. The door opened slowly, revealing the Valoran ship beyond. The first thing Taeyang noticed was the light. The Valorans seemed to glow slightly, with soft blue and purple patterns moving across their skin like gentle waves. They were tall, maybe 7 feet, with elegant features that looked almost human but not quite. Their eyes were larger and reflected light like a cat's eyes. 2 identical figures stepped through the doorway. The twin sisters. They moved in perfect sync like they were dancing the same dance without music. Captain Choi, one of them said in perfect English. Her voice was musical with an accent Taeyang couldn't place. I am Nari. This is my sister Hana. Thank you for allowing us to dock. Welcome to the Horizon's Promise, Yuna said, bowing slightly. This is my crew, and this is Taeyang Park, our communications technician. Both sisters turned to look at Taeyang at exactly the same time. Their glowing patterns shifted to a brighter blue. Taeyang felt his face getting hot. Taeyang Park, Hana said, tilting her head. The one who made the recording. Yes, Taeyang managed to say. That was me. I'm very sorry if I caused any confusion or offense. Offense? Nari interrupted, her patterns shifting to what might have been surprise. No, you caused fascination. Fascination? Taeyang repeated. The sisters looked at each other for a moment, not speaking. Taeyang remembered they were telepathic. They were probably having a whole conversation in their minds right now. Captain Choi, Hana said, turning back to Yuna. May we speak with Taeyang Park privately? We have questions that are personal in nature. Yuna looked at Taeyang. He gave a tiny nod. What choice did he have? Of course, Yuna said. We have a meeting room prepared. Park will show you the way. 10 minutes later, Taeyang sat across a table from 2 glowing alien sisters who were staring at him with intense interest. He felt like a bug under a microscope. So, he said, trying to sound casual, You wanted to talk? You're recording, Nari said. We have watched it 43 times. 43? Taeyang's voice came out higher than he intended. We shared it with our family collective, Hana explained. They also watched it multiple times. None of us understand it completely. What part don't you understand? Taeyang asked. The sisters looked at each other again. Those silent telepathic conversations were a bit creepy. The humor, Nari said. You spoke about pain, about loneliness, but you were laughing. Yeah, Taeyang said slowly. That's kind of what humans do. We joke about things that hurt. Why? Both sisters asked at the same time. Taeyang had never really thought about it before. I guess it makes the pain easier. If you can laugh at something, it has less power over you. The patterns on their skin shifted to a deep purple. Taeyang wondered what that meant. Valorans do not do this, Hana said. When we feel pain, we share it with our bond siblings through telepathy. The pain is divided, made smaller. That sounds nice, Taeyang said honestly. Humans don't have telepathy. We're all kind of alone in our own heads, so we use humor instead. Alone in your heads, Nari repeated like she was testing out the words. This concept is difficult for us. Hana and I have never been alone. We share every thought, every feeling, everything. Taeyang asked. Everything, Hana confirmed, including romantic partners when the time comes. In Valoran culture, twins share their chosen mate. It is normal for us. Taeyang felt his face turn red. Oh, that's interesting. Does this make you uncomfortable? Nari asked, leaning forward. A little, Taeyang admitted. Human dating is usually one-on-one. We don't really share like that. We know, Hana said. We have studied human culture since your recording. It is very complicated. Restaurants, movies, something called texting. So many rules? Yeah, it's pretty confusing, Taeyang agreed. That's kind of what I was complaining about in the recording. You said you cannot get a date on your own planet, Nari said. Why is this? Taeyang wanted to crawl under the table. Can we talk about something else? No, both sisters said together. This is important. We need to understand, Taeyang sighed. I guess I'm just not very confident. I'm not good at talking to people I like. I get nervous. I say stupid things. I'm too in my own head. But you are talking to us now, Hana pointed out. You seem calm. That's different. You're aliens. There's no pressure. No pressure? Nari's pattern shifted to bright yellow. Taeyang Park, do you not understand? Your recording reached 14 different species. 6 of them have sent diplomatic inquiries. The Dreth Collective thinks humans are weak because you admitted vulnerability. The Korthan Empire thinks humans are fascinating because you use humor as a survival tool. And she paused. We think you are the most interesting human we have ever met, Hana finished. Taeyang blinked. Me? I'm not interesting. I'm just a guy who works in communications and can't get a date. The sisters did their telepathic look again. This is what interests us, Nari said. You do not see your own value. You make jokes about yourself. You are honest about your weaknesses. In the galaxy, most species hide these things. They pretend to be strong, perfect, but humans are different, Hana said. You show your soft parts, your vulnerable parts, and you laugh while doing it. This is brave. I was just tired and lonely, Taeyang said. I wasn't trying to be brave. Exactly, both sisters said together. Before Taeyang could respond, the door opened. Captain Yuna stepped in. Sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation. The Dreth ambassador has requested an emergency council session. He's challenging humanity's place in the coalition. On what grounds? Taeyang asked. He says your recording proves humans are too emotionally weak for diplomatic relations. Yuna looked frustrated. It's political nonsense, but we have to respond. Nari stood up, her patterns turning sharp and red. This is unacceptable. The Dreth do not understand what they heard. We will speak at this council, Hana said, standing beside her sister. We will explain why Taeyang Park's recording shows strength, not weakness. You don't have to do that, Taeyang said. Yes, we do, Nari said firmly. Besides, we have not finished our conversation with you. We have many more questions about human courtship. Taeyang looked at Captain Yuna for help. She just shrugged, looking almost amused. Looks like you've made some powerful friends, Park, she said. As they all walked toward the council chamber, Taeyang's friend Minho appeared in the corridor. He took one look at Taeyang walking between 2 glowing alien sisters and gave him a huge grin and thumbs up. Taeyang wanted to die of embarrassment. This day just kept getting stranger. But as they entered the council chamber and he saw the Dreth ambassador's smug face, Taeyang felt something unexpected. Anger. The alien was using his moment of honesty against all of humanity. That wasn't fair. Maybe it was time to show them what humans were really made of, even the awkward, lonely ones. The council session was a disaster, but not in the way Taeyang expected. The Dreth ambassador, a large creature that looked like an armored lizard with too many eyes, had stood up and declared that humans were unfit for coalition membership. He showed Taeyang's recording to everyone present. "Listen to this human," the Dreth said. "He admits weakness. He jokes about his own failures. This is not the behavior of a species worthy of respect." Taeyang felt his ears burning. Everyone in the council chamber was watching his stupid recording again, but then Nari stood up. Her bioluminescent patterns turned bright red, which Taeyang was learning meant anger. "Ambassador," she said, her voice sharp, "you misunderstand completely. Taeyang Park's recording shows advanced emotional intelligence." "Emotional intelligence?" The Dreth laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. "He complains about being alone, like a child. He processes pain through humor," Hana added, standing beside her sister. "He turns suffering into something that can be shared and understood. Your species buries emotions. Humans transform them." The council erupted into arguments. Some species agreed with the Dreth. Others found the whole thing confusing. A few seemed genuinely curious about human behavior. Captain Yuna put a hand on Taeyang's shoulder. "You might want to say something," she whispered. Taeyang stood up, his legs shaking. "Can I speak?" The room went quiet. "Look," Taeyang said. "The ambassador is right. I was complaining. I was feeling sorry for myself. Humans do that sometimes. We're not perfect, we make mistakes. We feel lonely and sad and confused, but we also keep going. We laugh at ourselves so we don't cry. We admit we're lost so we can ask for directions. Is that weakness? Maybe. But it's honest." The Dreth ambassador snorted. "Honesty without strength is meaningless. And strength without honesty is just posturing." Taeyang shot back. "I made a joke about being single. You're standing here pretending you're better than an entire species because of it. Which one of us is really acting weak?" Several species in the council chamber made sounds that might have been approval. The Dreth ambassador sat down looking annoyed. After the council session, Captain Yuna made an announcement that Taeyang dreaded. "Park, congratulations. You're now our official cultural liaison for the Valoran delegation. They've requested to stay on our ship for 2 weeks to study human behavior, specifically your behavior." "Captain, no," Taeyang protested. "I'm not qualified. You got 2 telepathic aliens to defend humanity in front of the entire coalition," Yuna said. "You're qualified. Besides, this is your mess. You're cleaning it up." That's how Taeyang ended up with 2 7-foot-tall glowing aliens following him everywhere. Everywhere. They followed him to breakfast in the mess hall. They sat on either side of him, asking questions about every food item. "This is called scrambled eggs," Taeyang explained, pointing at his plate. "They come from chickens." "Chickens?" Nari asked. "Birds. Small earth birds." "You eat bird embryos?" Hana looked disturbed, her patterns turning pale green. "Well, when you say it like that, it sounds weird," Taeyang muttered. They followed him to his workstation. They watched him route communications and adjust signal frequencies. Nari asked about every button he pressed. Hana wanted to know why humans used screens instead of direct neural interfaces. "We don't have neural interfaces," Taeyang said patiently. "We just have our hands and our eyes." "So primitive," Nari said, but she sounded fascinated rather than judgmental. They followed him to the recreation room. Minho was there, playing a video game. He looked up, saw the twins, and grinned. "Taeyang and his new friends," Minho said cheerfully. "Want to play?" "What is this?" Hana asked, pointing at the screen. "It's a game," Taeyang explained. "You control a character and complete challenges." "For what purpose?" Nari asked. "For fun? Humans play games for fun?" Hana tilted her head. Velerans play games to improve telepathic bonds and strategic thinking. Humans do it because we like pressing buttons and seeing things explode, Minho said, laughing. Want to try? The next hour was chaos. The twins tried to play the game but kept getting confused by the controls. They also kept trying to play together as one unit since they shared thoughts. It didn't work well. No, you have to press X to jump, Taeyang said. Which button is X? Nari asked, pressing every button at once. Your character just died, Minho announced, laughing so hard he was crying. Other crew members started gathering to watch. Engineer Sora Kim showed up with her tablet recording everything. This is going in the cultural archives, she said, grinning. Future humans need to see aliens learning video games. Why is this so difficult? Hana asked, frustrated. We can pilot ships through asteroid fields, we can calculate hyperspace jumps in our heads, but this small box defeats us. Because you're thinking too hard, Taeyang said. Games aren't about being smart. They're about having fun and not caring if you mess up. Both twins stopped and looked at him. Not caring if you mess up? Nari repeated slowly. This is another human thing? Yeah, Taeyang said. That's kind of the point of games. You can fail and it doesn't matter. You just try again. The twins did their silent telepathic conversation thing. Their patterns shifted through several colors. This explains much about humans, Hana said finally. You practice failure in games so that real failure is less frightening. I guess? Taeyang hadn't thought about it that way. We just think games are fun. Fun, Nari said like she was learning a new word. Doing something with no purpose except enjoyment. Humans value this. Obviously, Minho said. Life's too short to be serious all the time. Word spread through the ship quickly. The aliens were interested in Taeyang Park. The most average, awkward crew member suddenly had two beautiful aliens following him around, asking him questions, wanting to learn from him. Sora cornered him in the corridor later that day. Okay, I have to ask, she said. What's your secret? You're literally the most awkward person on this ship. How did you get alien diplomats obsessed with you? I don't have a secret, Taeyang said tiredly. I accidentally broadcast a personal recording and now I can't get rid of them. Can't get rid of us. Nari's voice came from behind him. Both twins had appeared silently. Their patterns were flashing yellow. You wish us to leave? No, that's not what I meant, Taeyang said quickly. Sora was asking. It's complicated. Human communication is very complicated, Hana agreed. You say one thing, but mean another. You use jokes to hide real feelings. You ask questions when you already know the answer. It is exhausting to decode. Welcome to being human, Taeyang muttered. We wish to understand better, Nari said. Tonight we want you to show us a human dating ritual. Taeyang choked on air. What? We have read about them. Dinner, conversation, something called a movie. We want to experience this. With me? Taeyang squeaked. Yes, both twins said together. Who else would we ask? Sora was trying not to laugh. Taeyang shot her a desperate look, but she just waved and walked away. I don't think that's a good idea, Taeyang said weakly. Why not? Hana asked. You said human dating is natural, casual. We wish to observe this casualness. You can't observe a date while being on the date, Taeyang tried to explain. That's not how it works. Then we will be on the date with you, Nari said, as if this solved everything. It will be educational. That evening, Taeyang found himself in the mess hall with Nari and Hana, trying to explain why sitting across from him wasn't enough. They also needed to actually eat food. Minho walked by, saw the three of them at a table with candles Nari had somehow found, and took a picture. This is going on my wall, Minho announced. I hate you, Taeyang called after him. No, you don't, Minho called back, laughing. Nari leaned forward. Taeyang Park, do human males often express hatred toward their friends? It's a joke, Taeyang said, rubbing his face. We don't actually hate each other, we just say it. More humor to hide real emotions, Hana observed. taking notes on a small device. Fascinating. Taeyang put his head down on the table. This was going to be a long 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into something Taeyang never expected. The twins were still following him everywhere, but it started to feel less weird. Almost normal. Almost nice. He learned that Nari liked earth music, especially old jazz. She would sit in his quarters and listen to it for hours, her patterns shifting colors with the melody. Hana was fascinated by human art and would spend time in the observation deck, watching Taeyang sketch. He wasn't a good artist, but she didn't seem to care. "Why do you draw things that don't exist?" Hana asked one day, watching him sketch a dragon. "Because it's fun to imagine," Taeyang said. "Humans like to create things that aren't real." "Velerans only create what is practical," Hana said quietly. "We do not understand this need for imagination." "Maybe that's why you're here," Taeyang said without thinking. "To learn how to imagine." Hana's pattern shifted to a soft pink color he'd never seen before. She didn't say anything, but she moved closer to look at his drawing. Captain Yuna started giving Taeyang different assignments. Other alien species had noticed his success with the Velerans. They wanted to talk to him too. A delegation from the Korthan Empire asked him to explain human humor. Taeyang spent 3 hours trying to explain why jokes about chickens crossing roads were funny. He wasn't sure he succeeded, but the Korthans seemed happy. An ambassador from the peaceful Drell species asked him to help translate an emotional concept they couldn't understand. Humans called it bittersweet. The feeling of happiness and sadness mixed together. "Like graduating school," Taeyang explained. "You're happy to finish, but sad to leave your friends." The Drell ambassador's face showed understanding for the first time in days. "Yes, we have this feeling, but no word for it. Humans have words for complicated emotions." "We have complicated emotions," Taeyang said, shrugging. "We needed complicated words." Word got back to Coalition headquarters. Taeyang started getting requests to help with other diplomatic missions. Small ones at first, then bigger ones. The real test came 3 weeks after his recording had gone viral. 2 species, the Torvan and the Halax, were in a trade negotiation. It was falling apart. Both sides were too proud to admit they needed each other. Both sides were pretending they had other options. Everyone knew they were lying, but no one would say it out loud. Captain Yuna came to find Taeyang in the mess hall. He was eating lunch with Nari and Hana, trying to explain why humans put cheese on everything. "Park, I need you," Yuna said. "The Torvan Halax negotiation is about to collapse. Coalition Command thinks you might be able to help." "Me?" Taeyang almost dropped his food. "Captain, I don't know anything about trade negotiations. You don't need to know about trade. You need to do what you do best. Be honest, be awkward. Make everyone relax. We will accompany him," Nari said immediately. "Obviously," Hana added, "we can provide telepathic insights into emotional states." An hour later, Taeyang sat in a conference room with angry alien diplomats from 2 different species. The Torvan looked like bears made of rock. The Halax looked like tall mantis creatures with too many arms. Both groups were glaring at each other across the table. "So," Taeyang said, looking around nervously, "I hear you're having some trouble." "The Torvan refused to accept fair pricing," a Halax diplomat hissed. "The Halax refused to acknowledge market reality," a Torvan rumbled back. "Right," Taeyang said. "Can I ask a question? And I want you to be really honest because I'm going to be honest too. Do either of you actually have other trade partners lined up?" Silence. "Because," Taeyang continued, "I'm looking at the economic reports and it seems like you need each other pretty badly. The Torvan have resources the Halax need. The Halax have technology the Torvan need. You're perfect partners, but you're both pretending you have other options because admitting you need each other feels weak." More silence. "Here's the thing," Taeyang said, feeling more confident. "Humans used to do this all the time. Countries would refuse to trade with each other because of pride. Because of old arguments, because admitting you need help feels bad. But you know what feels worse? Going without something you need because you were too proud to ask." Nari's patterns were glowing bright blue. She leaned forward. "We sense both groups feeling the same emotion. Taeyang Park is correct. You are mirror images of each other's stubbornness. Stubbornness is not the same as strength," Hana added gently. "Sometimes strength is admitting you were wrong." One of the Torvan diplomats shifted in his seat. "The Halax offered an insult 3 months ago. We cannot forget this. What insult? Taeyang asked. They called our mining techniques outdated. Taeyang looked at the Halax delegation. Did you? We merely suggested improvements, a Halax said defensively. Our technology could make their mining safer and more efficient. So you were trying to help, but it came out as an insult? Taeyang asked. The Halax diplomat's antennae twitched. Perhaps we could have phrased it better. And you, Taeyang turned to the Torvan, refused to trade because your feelings were hurt? The Torvan diplomat looked uncomfortable. It was a matter of respect. Okay, here's what humans would do in this situation, Taeyang said. First, the Halax would apologize for the bad phrasing. Not for being wrong, just for saying it badly. Then the Torvan would accept the apology and admit they overreacted. Then you'd both laugh about how stupid the whole fight was and you'd get back to business. Laugh, both groups said at the same time. Laugh, Taeyang confirmed. Because holding on to anger takes energy. And you're both tired. I can see it. You want this deal to work. You're just too proud to say it first. Nari and Hana looked at each other, having one of their silent conversations. Then Hana spoke. We sense truth in Taeyang Park's words. Both groups feel exhaustion. Both groups feel hope. Both groups are waiting for the other to apologize first. So stop waiting, Taeyang said. Apologize at the same time. On 3, ready? 1, 2, 3. We apologize for our insensitive phrasing, the Halax diplomat said. We apologize for overreacting, the Torvan diplomat said. They said it at the exact same time. Then they looked at each other in surprise. Taeyang started clapping. There, was that so hard? One of the Torvan made a sound that might have been a chuckle. One of the Halax's antennae twitched in what looked like amusement. Humans are very strange, the Torvan diplomat said, but he sounded less angry. Yeah, we get that a lot, Taeyang said. Grinning, the negotiations started moving again. Both sides began actually talking instead of posturing. Taeyang sat back and watched, amazed that his simple suggestion had worked. When the meeting ended with an agreement, both diplomatic teams thanked him. The Torvan gave him a small piece of crystal from their home world. The Halax gave him a data chip containing their history. You have a gift, the Halax ambassador said. You see through pretense to truth. I just don't like wasting time on being fake, Taeyang said honestly. Life's too short. Back on the ship, Captain Yuna called him to her office again. This time she was smiling. Park, I just got a message from Coalition Command. They want to offer you a formal position as a human cultural ambassador. You'd travel to different systems, help with negotiations, teach other species about human behavior. Taeyang felt dizzy. That's a huge job. Yes, it is. You don't have to decide now. But think about it. Yuna paused. You're good at this, Park. Better than you know. When he left the office, Nari and Hana were waiting outside. They always seemed to know when he needed them. We heard the offer, Nari said. It is a great honor. It's also terrifying, Taeyang admitted. What if I mess up? What if I say the wrong thing and start a war? You won't, Hana said with certainty. We have observed you for weeks now. You are incapable of dishonesty. This is your strength. I'm plenty capable of dishonesty, Taeyang protested. No, Nari said firmly. You are capable of kindness disguised as humor. You are capable of wisdom disguised as simplicity. You are capable of bravery disguised as honesty. But you cannot be false. We have never met anyone like you. Taeyang felt his face getting hot. I'm just a guy who made a stupid recording at 3 in the morning. That stupid recording changed everything, Hana said softly. For the Coalition. And for us. There was something in the way she said it that made Taeyang's heart beat faster. He looked at both of them, really looked at them, and saw something he'd been too nervous to notice before. They weren't just studying him. They cared about him. The message from Earth arrived 3 days later. Taeyang stared at it on his screen, reading it over and over. A major communications company wanted to hire him. Vice President of Interstellar Relations. Huge salary. A corner office in Seoul. Everything he'd ever wanted before he came to space. He could go home. You are quiet today, Nari said. She and Hana sat on either side of him in the observation deck. It had become their spot over the past month. Just thinking, Taeyang said. About the offer from Earth, Hana said. It wasn't a question. They always seemed to know what he was feeling. Yeah. It is what you wanted, Nari said. Before you came to space, a good job, success, recognition. How did you know that? Taeyang asked. You told us, Hana said. When you were showing us your old photographs, you said you applied to space duty because you had nothing else. No job, no relationship, nothing keeping you on Earth. Taeyang had forgotten about that conversation. They remembered everything. So now you have what you wanted, Nari continued. You can return. Why do you both sound sad about it? Taeyang asked. The twins looked at each other. Their patterns shifted through several colors. Blue, purple, pink, then settled on a deep blue that looked like sadness. We do not want you to leave, Hana said quietly. But we understand if you must, Nari added. Taeyang's chest felt tight. Can I ask you something? And I want a real answer. Why did you really come here? Was it just to study humans? The twins were silent for a long moment. Their patterns swirled together like they were having an intense telepathic conversation. At first, yes, Nari finally said. We heard your recording. We were curious. Humans were new to the coalition. We wanted to understand this species that could laugh at their own pain. But then we met you, Hana continued, and we realized you were not just interesting. You were important to us. Important how? Taeyang's heart was beating fast. In Veloran culture, Nari said slowly, we spend years searching for a mate. We use telepathy to find someone compatible, someone whose mind fits with ours. It is scientific, practical. We test and measure and calculate. But with you, Hana said, there is no telepathy. We cannot read your thoughts. We cannot measure compatibility. And yet we feel more connected to you than anyone we have ever known. Nari finished. Taeyang couldn't breathe. What are you saying? We are saying that we want to court you, Hana said, in the human way. With dates and conversations and uncertainty, we want to try. Both of you? Taeyang asked weakly. We are twins, Nari said. We share everything. Our thoughts, our feelings, our choice of mate. This is our way. But we understand if this is too strange for humans. Hana added quickly, we know you prefer one-to-one relationships. We would not ask you to change your culture for us. Taeyang laughed. It started as a small chuckle and grew into real laughter. Both twins looked confused, their patterns flashing yellow. What is funny? Nari asked. A month ago, Taeyang said, wiping his eyes, I made a stupid recording about how I'd probably die alone. I joked that aliens probably didn't find humans attractive. And now 2 beautiful, brilliant aliens are asking to date me. It's insane. Is that a no? Hana asked, her voice small. No, Taeyang said quickly. I mean, no, it's not a no, I mean. He took a deep breath. I'm scared. I've never been good at relationships. I'm awkward and I say stupid things and I overthink everything. What if I mess this up? You will mess it up, Nari said matter-of-factly. Humans always mess things up. That is what you do. You fail and learn and try again. And we will mess it up too, Hana added. We know nothing about human courtship. We will make mistakes. But we can learn together. Together. Taeyang repeated softly. He looked out the observation window at the stars. Earth was out there somewhere. The job offer. The normal life. Everything he thought he wanted. But here, right now, were 2 people who had seen him at his most pathetic and decided he was worth knowing, worth caring about, worth choosing. I need to talk to some people, Taeyang said. Minho found him in the mess hall an hour later. Taeyang told him everything. The job offer, the twins, the choice. Are you serious right now? Minho said, laughing. You're asking me whether you should take a boring corporate job or become a space ambassador dating twin aliens. When you say it like that, it sounds obvious, Taeyang muttered. That's because it is obvious, Minho said. Dude, a month ago you were the loneliest guy on this ship. Now you're the most interesting person in the coalition. You helped stop a trade war by telling people to stop being stupid. You made aliens understand human emotions. And 2 gorgeous aliens are in love with you. They didn't say love, Taeyang protested. They literally followed you around for a month and learned video games for you, Minho said. That's love. Next, Taeyang found Captain Yuna. She was in her office, working through reports. Captain, I need advice, he said. Yuna looked up. Let me guess. Earth job or space job? How did everyone know about this before I told them? Small ship. Word travels fast, Yuna said, smiling. What's the confusion? You're amazing at the space job. You're a natural diplomat. Why would you go back to Earth? Because it's safe, Taeyang admitted. Because I know what to expect. Because space is scary and huge and I don't know if I'm good enough. Park, Yuna said seriously. You were never going to be happy in a safe job. You came to space because something inside you knew you needed to be challenged, needed to be uncomfortable. And look what happened. You found something you're brilliant at. I'm not brilliant, Taeyang said. You're humble, Yuna corrected. That's different. And that humility is exactly why you're good at this. You don't pretend to have all the answers. You ask questions. You admit mistakes. You treat everyone like equals. That's what the galaxy needs. That night, Taeyang went to the twins' quarters. They were sitting together, patterns dim and sad-looking. Have you decided? Nari asked. Yes, Taeyang said. But first I need to say something. For my whole life I thought I wasn't good enough, not smart enough, not confident enough, not interesting enough. I made that recording because I genuinely believed I would always be alone. Both twins started to speak, but Taeyang held up his hand. Let me finish. You two showed me something. You showed me that the things I thought were weaknesses, my honesty, my awkwardness, my self-doubt, those things can actually be strengths. You saw value in me when I couldn't see it in myself. Taeyang, Hana started. I'm taking the space job, Taeyang said. I'm staying. And if you still want to try this crazy relationship thing, I want to try too. I'm going to mess up a lot. I'm going to say the wrong things and probably make both of you frustrated. But I want to try. The twins' patterns exploded into bright, happy colors. They both stood up at the same time and moved toward him. We will mess up too, Nari said, smiling. We will misunderstand human customs and say confusing things and probably break several social rules. But we will learn together, Hana finished. Together, Taeyang agreed. 3 months later, Taeyang stood in front of a coalition assembly. He was officially being sworn in as the first human cultural ambassador. Ambassadors from 40 different species were present. I probably shouldn't start a formal speech this way, Taeyang said, but I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea what I'm doing. Several ambassadors made sounds of confusion. Others, the ones who had worked with him before, made sounds that might have been laughter. Humans mess up a lot, Taeyang continued. We make mistakes. We misunderstand each other. We fight over stupid things. We're awkward and confused, and we probably always will be. But we're also really good at learning, really good at adapting, really good at laughing at ourselves and trying again. He paused, looking around the room. Nari and Hana stood in the back, their patterns glowing with pride. So here's what I can promise you as your human cultural ambassador. I will be honest. I will make mistakes and admit them. I will ask stupid questions. I will tell you when I don't understand something. And I will always treat you with respect and try my best to bridge our differences. He took a deep breath. Humans are new to the galaxy. We're still figuring everything out, but we're here. We're trying. And we really want to be your friends. The room erupted in what might have been applause. Different species showed approval in different ways, but they all meant the same thing. After the ceremony, Minho found him in the corridor. That speech was perfectly you, Minho said, grinning. Awkward and honest and somehow inspiring. I was just being myself, Taeyang said. I know. That's why it worked. Nari and Hana approached, moving in their synchronized way that Taeyang had grown to love. You did well, Nari said. Very well, Hana agreed. Though we should discuss your speech patterns, you use too many qualifiers when you should be more direct. We can work on this during dinner tonight, Nari added. We found a restaurant that serves both human and Velaran food. You mean the mess hall? Taeyang asked, laughing. It is our favorite restaurant, Hana said seriously. Because you are always there. Taiyang felt his face get warm. Even after 3 months, they could still make him blush. As they walked together, through the ship, heading toward another strange dinner date with telepathic aliens, Taiyang thought about that recording he'd made. That tired, lonely complaint about being single. He'd been wrong about so many things. Aliens did find humans attractive,